and welcome to another edition of the Talking Basketball podcast. I am Mark.
I am Paul. Hello.
Hello. And it's been a minute, but we've got a guest.
Mark, we are back with a fantastic guest. And I will say, I think this could be a world exclusive.
Could be. Could be controversial as well.
Probably. But today we're going to be talking about court officiating, more specifically table officials. And that's why I say this could be a world exclusive, because there probably never has been a podcast about table officiating before.
Never one that is as exciting as this one is, that's for sure.
Exactly. So our guest today is an absolute South Coast legend. I would call her an all-rounder. Level 3 referee, level 3 table official, and a level 2 to add to all the things that she does for her coaching around the South Coast. So Mark, without any ado, now stand and cheer. God, number 10, Sarah Rowlands. Welcome.
Hi.
That is probably the best intro you've ever had. We should do that at games for table officials.
That's the best. So you didn't say that's the best official we've done. You said that's the best intro you have ever had. So Sarah, that is the best intro you've ever had.
Probably. You're right.
Well,
I don't tend to get intros, so that's, yeah.
Well, look, Mark, we got Sarah on the show because, you know, she's such an integral part of a basketball on the South Coast, and just one of the things she does is court officiating. But just talking about table officials, it's one of those things that has to happen to allow the game to run smoothly. You know, managing the scorebook, operating the actual scoreboard, you know, tracking the fouls, tracking the timeouts, doing the substitution, just staying focused when all the pressure is all kicking off, and all of that. You know, it's one of those things which is so important to the actual running of the game, but never gets talked about, especially for the fact that the table official is the gold standard on the court. Nothing, any questions, what does the book say? And that is why we got someone to talk about it.
So Sarah, based on what he's just said there, is the court official, if that's the gold standard, are they the final say against a ref when there is a question over the score, accepting?
The scorebook's always correct, regardless of whether table officials aren't perfect, referees aren't perfect, players aren't perfect. So, but whatever the scorebook says is what the scoreboard should say. However, a referee can come over and say, I think you might have made a mistake, or we can buzz and say, we think we've made a mistake. And we can alter it dependent on what's decided. It's a joint decision usually between the table captain, who usually is the scorer, and the referee. But the referee has
team, isn't it?
The referee has the final say. But we are a team, yes.
Alongside the referees.
Yeah, there's 5 people team,
And
6 people team.
Is it a hard job as well to do?
Yes, in the fact that concentration levels must be high. And there's 3 different jobs you have to learn. There's different rules and regulations for each job. So, and you can't do the 24-second clock unless you're a level 3. So you develop up through the ranks, so to say. And then the 24-second clock is the most where you need the most concentration.
Right, do you know what?
Yes.
Until you said that, I would never have thought that. But of course, yeah, 100%. That's probably the one that you really have to be on the ball for the most, because everything else has a stop after it. That was the... I
generally think it's a hard job, and people look at it and go, oh, it's really easy, but it really isn't.
And when you're making that decision on that shot clock, for example,
yeah,
and someone has put a shot up,
yeah,
when, just so I understand, because I'm not entirely sure, when does it reset?
When the ball hits the hoop. So it's subjective. It's the angle you're sat at. It could be the referee over the other side sees that it hasn't hit the hoop, so we can reset the clock to what he says or she says. But
what if they throw up a terrible brick and it doesn't hit the rim?
Then it doesn't reset. So the shot clock carries on, and until it goes off, basically.
Because I think that's important. A lot of people don't. Some people have seen, in certain games where people will throw something off the backboard or use it as a pass or a method, that sort of thing, and they'll assume that that's reset the shot clock. But more often than not, it's because another player touched it or someone knocked it. That's why the shot missed, and that's why actually the shot clock reset. But a lot of people think it just has to touch the backboard, not the actual rim.
No, it has to touch the edge of the rim.
So Sarah, why did you get involved in table officiating? What was your journey to get there? Was it just one of the things just to help out and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was just to help out originally. I got involved in the Portsmouth Central Venue League with Mickey Byrne. Had a team in there, played for a bit, but then I thought, you know what, it's easier to officiate, so I did the officiating course. I was about 21 maybe when I did the table course.
Was that 20 years ago, is it?
A bit more than that, mate, a bit more than that. But yeah, and then I got to know Cliff Fulbrook, and he was the one that sort of pushed me through and did all that. And then it's just progressed from there, really.
It's probably worth saying Cliff Fulbrook's one of the guys I'm trying to get on the podcast. He's keen, but he's got so much knowledge, and he's just won an award for Basketball England actually for his contribution to
well deserved
to the basketball community. But really specifically, he was very much around in the Portsmouth Football Club basketball club days.
Yeah, but he was at Solent.
Yeah, but he knows loads about it, doesn't he?
Yeah. So he was he started off like officiating and doing. He did the Solent table for a lot of years and was quite high up. But then he broadened his horizons and became involved in the Solent Area League and all that.
So do you prefer being a ref, being on the court, or a table official?
To be honest, I don't mind. I really enjoy refereeing, but I also enjoy table officiating. So and developing other people to be table officials and referees. That's what I like as well.
Is there a level of the play that you prefer, but both reffing and also being table for? Because I'd imagine the pace of the game and the flow of the game is different at certain levels.
Absolutely, yeah. To be honest, I don't really mind. I mean, I do love tabling the Portsmouth Force senior men's games because a lot goes on in them. And this last season, we've had examples of everything, I think, in that. Disqualifications and all sorts going on. So that was quite exciting to be involved in that.
Actually, yeah, that was really interesting. The first time I've ever noticed. So sitting next to Sarah in a specific game, there was a bench clear out. And I thought it was really interesting. I never knew it happened. The referees came and asked Sarah, what numbers have you got? And she said it was number 6, number 9, number 12, or something like that. And they were like, awesome, that's what we've got. And they definitely came over and agreed that as a team with the table before they then went. And I found that really fascinating. So I've never picked up on that.
So when you're on the table so if there is something going on that looks a bit like it could occur as a bench clearance or anything like that, the person sitting nearest, usually the scorer at the moment, sitting nearest the left-hand bench looks at that bench. The other, the shot clock operator in our team sits and looks at the right-hand bench, and then we'll jot down any numbers that go onto the court. So obviously a referee, there's only 2 of them. If they include us, the scorekeeper is actually the scoreboard operator is actually looking as well to see what's going on in the middle of the court, if you like. But yes, we they should always come to the table and just check.
Massive part. And Mark, like, I never picked up on that. And it was only when they came over and asked, I was like, oh, wow, that's another a role that a table official is doing that is actually a real big deal in a game.
So on just that, does that stoppage or that discussion get noted within the game stats or notes? The actual
on the book, you mean?
On the book, yeah. Does it get recorded in some way when you have moments like this?
If there's so that particular incident we're talking about, there was 4 players went on the court. The referee asked me what numbers they were. I told him, but I also informed him that 2 of them had only gone on to drag their players off. Now, in theory, it should have been disqualifying all of them, in which case all 4 would have been disqualified in the book. But the referees and myself and the other table officials made the decision that the 2 that were going on the court genuinely were taking their players away, not getting involved, so they weren't penalised, but the other 2 were penalised because they'd gone on to punch someone.
I guess that would be the same if someone, say, slipped and knocked themselves out and a player ran onto the court to give someone medical aid, for example. Theoretically, they can't run on. If say that just randomly happened for 1 split second and the game's going up the other end, someone tripped over, the ref would spot it. But in that instant, if someone else ran out to go, oh God, we got to go get to them.
If it's a head injury, then the referee should stop the game immediately.
If they saw it. Yeah.
If they didn't, then
can a table official butt in and press the buzzer and go, someone's just hurt their head?
Personally, if I saw if someone had fallen down and they're playing and it looked serious, then yes, I would buzz it. You're not allowed to, but for health and safety reasons, surely common sense comes into play.
Okay, so
in that respect, but it would have to be serious. You know, it couldn't be just he's fallen on the floor in front of me and
is he or isn't he hurt?
I'd have had to have noticed that he's bashed his head really hard, and then I personally would stop it. Whether that's correct, but I'm thinking of a safeguarding. Yeah, being a.
So what Sarah's really saying here is no blood, no foul. That's what she's going with.
You go down, make sure it looks fair.
That's what I brought my kids up believing.
Swan dive, really, really milk it, go for it. But that's a fair point, because as you say, if someone just goes down, if someone jumped up, grabbed a rebound, quick outlet, and ball goes up again, and when they landed awkwardly and they go down, it's the ref's responsibility to stop the game.
Yeah, I was doing.
Does the ref have overall responsibility? Doesn't he?
Yes. I was doing a game, HMS Temeraire, many years ago, and I'm on the table, and there was a referee. It was the Central Venue League. Guy went up for a layup, and his leg snapped in half.
Oh.
I didn't even push the buzzer then. I just shoved the table and the £600 scoreboard away from me and ran. So there are situations where you would...
Someone's health is more important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Safeguarding is the issue.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, anyway. Whether that's correct, like I say, is another matter. But someone's health is.
Yeah, I suppose if it's once someone's hurt and there's like a leg broken, if the ref hasn't seen it, I think most people would agree you got to stop the game. But again, that's that whole thing where this table official, that's what I was saying to you, it's so integral that the ref has missed something. I noticed Sarah, she'll put her hand up. And so the ref straight away, they're looking over going, right, something's happened. What you can see them clocking, looking, what is it? Or you might even point or something.
Well, I think we know how important the flow of the game is for basketball in particular. And sometimes you have that moment where someone's got momentum, the team's doing well, the other team is just struggling to go against it. And I'd always looked at the ref as being the person who controls the flow. But the more and more I watched, as I got older, I understood that it's a bigger...
It's a team effort.
It's a whole team effort.
Especially if you've got, say, some...
But when you're young, you just think it's the ref, and you don't understand the input that the table has with the ref. You don't understand that part. You just think they're keeping score and keeping tabs for when I'm fouling people.
Yeah.
And it's actually
that's what all
like
the spectators are just keeping score.
Exactly.
But I'm telling you, and this is just my personal experience on it, when I was learning to become a referee, and when I have been refereeing with inexperienced referees or just learning the thing, when you've got someone like Sarah on the table, it's such a third man backup where you're just like, this incident just happened. And it's like, yeah. And you know, you've got that support network right behind you, right there, that you can interact with during the game, if that makes sense what I'm saying.
Well, let's ask Sarah. Sarah, when Paul was reffing and you were on the table, did you have that same experience of, oh, good, Paul's reffing today?
We still communicate now. Like, even like last season, I would go out to Sarah and say, Sarah, this just happened. What is your thought? And like, even being a ref for 10 years, I would listen to what Sarah said.
Does she communicate with giving you the finger?
No, I ask her a question. She says stuff. And yeah, I actually make Sarah the benchmark for when I'm coaching players, because I will say, I'm telling you now, Sarah Rowlands will call that for a travel, and that's a carry. You know, when you see all the coaches teaching kids how to carry, I'm like, I'm telling you now, that's going to be called as a carry. It
just makes me the bad man. That's what he's saying.
But you do it so well, Sarah.
But even like last season, I'm coming up to Sarah. Sarah, what was your take on that?
That is true. He does, and he'll make the decision, but then afterwards, after a game or at quarter time, he'll come and say, and a lot of referees do. We all, because they know I'm a referee as well, I mean, that helps. They do come and say, what did you think? Was that what I thought it was? And then I just say, well, yeah or no, or I think you could have done it this way or whatever. It's all a two-way, three-way, four-way, five-way, because there's five of us. It's that conversation.
You know us from Mountbatten, Wimbledon Park days, like long time ago.
Wimbledon Park, is that even still there?
Thanks, just telling me how old I am.
Yeah, that was only 12 years ago.
Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
yes, it is still there.
So what are we talking? We're talking 80s.
Yeah. Shh. I think with the Wimbledon Park bit was actually early 90s because they had a thing with Mountbatten. They couldn't do it with the time, so we had to go to Wimbledon Park for a while, didn't we?
Mm.
And then it went back a little bit for Mountbatten. But one of the biggest things Paul said, and you know what he was like as a youth.
I know what he was like as a youth.
Yeah.
Believe me, I know what he was like.
When he started reffing, it gave him a completely new appreciation for refs. And have you seen that in the way that he is as he's changed?
Why are you focusing on me?
Well, because it's not often that you see someone who sees someone. I mean, you've taught youths, and when you see the coaching side of things and you teach people, you think, I remember when they used that as a player, then I remember them as that. And to say you're a spirited individual when you're younger is one thing, but now when she sees you and you're putting the ref's hat on or the coach's hat on and stuff, you're a different player. You've absorbed in a different way. You've grown in a different way.
All right. Am I?
You are a different player. You're still as aggressive as you were, but you're not as angry. You used to. I mean,
it's only because his brother's not on the court.
everything was the referee's fault when you were younger, but now you've become a referee. It's not so much. You understand the referee's point of view now, so you're not when you're on the court. But even when you're still on the court, those elbows still come out, mate. I've seen them.
This is what I wanted.
Hey, don't blame me. Blame Mickey Byrne.
Yeah,
you
we can all
get that ball, elbows out, swing. That's what I was taught from 5 years old.
That is true. That is very true.
But joking aside, the value that you found in seeing a different perspective of the game.
Yeah, and I've said this many times on the podcast. You actually get to a point where you go, you may disagree with a foul that a referee's called, but in the same breath, you're like, I haven't got that angle. Even as another ref, if a referee calls a foul that I'll go, oh, I wasn't sure. In the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I haven't got the angle that they've got, so they must have seen something.
Doesn't stop him arguing, though.
Oh no, they would never.
No,
Doesn't stop him arguing, especially when he sets illegal screens.
Yeah, my only
Never knowingly. Never knowingly.
My only I don't know. My only thought with referees and table officials or officiating is consistency. If it's consistent, I don't think any players, if it can be consistently bad, players know where we stand. I think where the challenge is where one end there'll be a really hard foul and it doesn't get called, and then there's just a tap foul and it gets called. I think that's where players find it challenging to play the game well. That
What
makes
you've
sense.
got to remember is referees make mistakes. Everything refereeing wise is subjective, so it's what that particular referee has seen. I never say heard, because you shouldn't go on what you've heard. You could hear a slap, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a foul.
Oh really? So if you hear
you don't
that,
ever hear. It's what you see.
Mark, I use Sarah's language. So if I hear like that and I haven't seen the contact, I remember Sarah saying it in a game, and I've used it 10 years. I always say, I heard it, I didn't see it. Literally, that was what she said in the game as I was reffing. I went, oh, I'm going to use that, and I've always used it. And players go, oh, right, okay, I heard it, I didn't see it, because you're acknowledging the fact that you heard what they heard.
so if you heard it and that person's almost already got a red bit on their arm already,
You got to see it.
But really,
You got to see the contact.
okay, so that's
It
where
could
you.
be someone stood, say someone's, I don't know, going up for a layup. It could be the person on the 3-point line clapping their hands behind their back.
So on that base, exactly.
So if you so if you don't see anything but you hear a clap, you're
Also,
And that goes the same
there are
with
clever players who will go up and do a layup and they'll
Slap
slap
their own
themselves. They'll slap their leg or something.
Yeah. I mean, what about that? So I guess that's the same with like the jersey pull. It's about as classic as defence as it gets, where you're giving everyone a little tug now again. They can't see it because it's behind them.
that's why players are asked to tuck their shirts in.
Asked, not complied.
They have to comply, because if your shirt's out and a referee asks you to put it in and you don't put it in, it could become a technical foul issue.
Oh, they doing that?
Well, I get asked to
that
tuck my
is-
shirt in like 10 times a game.
That's because you're sloppy. So, Sarah, on that basis, then, but from what Paul's saying, with in terms of in your viewpoint and how you see things, is it harder for you reffing with someone else on the table, or is it harder to be on the table with someone else reffing?
Doesn't that depend who the other person is?
what I'm saying
that's
is
a tricky question, because
based on the knowledge that you
it
have, because you've
depends
got experience in them.
on the person who is the opposite, if you know what I mean. I mean, if they're a newly qualified table official, you're very aware of checking to make sure that it's okay and that they're okay and that the score's as you think it should be.
And
I
that's
mean,
when you're say if you're a ref.
That's
then
if
in
I'm
that case.
refereeing.
So you actually you're taking on part of that responsibility as well if you're the ref.
I always tend to do it anyway. Well, no, I don't actually. Depends. It depends who it is. But if it's, like I say, a newly qualified or a lower league, or it's getting close, then you will keep an eye on the scoreboard as a referee anyway. You should be keeping an eye. You know, if you know that they've scored 2 points down that end and there's no change on the scoreboard, then something is wrong, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So you keep an eye on the scoreboard, especially if it's a tabletop. It's easier that way. As a table official, like you say, I have been known to get frustrated with the officials on the court.
Okay,
Mark,
yeah.
I got an example.
No, I'm just.
Sarah
that's what I
wasn't. She
thinking.
was nice about it though. So there was I wasn't feeling too great, and I was supposed to be reffing a National League game, and Sarah was table officiating. So we swapped. She was the ref, and I was table official. So again, I'm not feeling great. I'm got the table in front of me, going right. Okay, cool, everything right. Right, tip off, go. After 2 plays, Sarah looks over. Start the clock, Paul.
Where do you think I got that question
Oh,
from?
dear.
Yeah, exactly.
Start the clock. I think it was just. It might have been 30 seconds.
It can be. I mean, the trouble is, as a table, like Paul said earlier, as a table official, you've got all this equipment in front of you. You push the button. You think you've pushed the button, or the button isn't responding, but you don't necessarily know that that's not happening.
You're concentrating
on what's going on, and then it takes someone to say, "Clock." Usually, it's the crowd. Clock, hasn't started. Clock. And which then you realise that it hasn't started. But
because some of them are, like you say, shot clock. That button you'll be pressing more often, whereas just starting and stopping the time.
Start and stop buttons, because they're used so often, tend to
sometimes get stuck, don't they?
Especially when they make them more like that soft touch rubber.
Yeah.
And
or the little rub. You can feel the little rubber ball underneath it.
Well, I remember,
and if you don't get it perfectly on that,
Mickey Byrne, he'd get a brand new scoreboard and he would cut the stop button out, like, so it's literally the actual switch.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it, isn't it? But those things are not the things that people consider in the crowd. That's why we wanted to have you on, because we like showing people what's behind. Everyone turns up and everyone sees the Christmas dinner laid out on the table. They go watch the game. They have a lovely time. That's what people see. But what they don't see is how much effort delivering a basketball game is for all of the people involved, from the table, the refs, the people doing the sound, the coaches, even people putting stuff up and flyers and emptying and packing up before and after. People don't see that with that. And that's just for like the main games on those nights. All the other stuff that you've done historically, and I'm using historically, not in an age thing, but the amount of, you talked about bringing new table officials and new coaches. We have to give you credit as being part of that whole thing in Portsmouth, because it's vital to the game, isn't it, that more and more people pick up being a table official and going into reffing. And
you don't have a game.
Exactly. But there's key figureheads. We've mentioned Cliff and so forth, but there's key figureheads throughout, certainly Portsmouth City, for doing that and bringing that through. And you've been one of them in certainly with table officials and coaching and getting people into the game.
I tend to do more refereeing and table officials. We are so short of both in this area that if there's anyone out there that wants to do it, please contact. But a lot of people tend to do it and then think, oh yeah, I've qualified now, it's a good thing for my CV, but I won't carry it on. Or there are instances where coaches might have shouted at them, it's put them off not doing that anymore.
And that's an actual issue, that is.
That is a big issue. People not understanding the rules. A couple of seasons ago, I was refereeing an under-18 game at Portsmouth, and I got abused by the crowd to the extent that someone came face to face with me outside the sports hall and was poking a finger in my face and having a go at me. Now, if it had been anyone other than me that's got 30 odd years experience, they might have said, I'm not doing this anymore, it's too risky. Do you know what I mean? So there's all of that. People that don't understand can give issues to officials, and that is why we're losing so many officials. Table officials, not so much, although, you do get constantly, if the scoreboard isn't updated as quickly as some of the crowd want.
They're shouting,
They're shouting.
Is there a time frame by which you have to, because obviously you've got to put it in the book first. That's the most important thing, get that correct. And ideally you do that, mark it down, and then it goes on the scoreboard. But is there a time frame?
There should be. I mean, if you're with a partner, then you should be doing it instantaneously. Yeah. So it should be at the same time. But obviously there could be something else that's occurred at the time that has prevented that from happening. You know, it might be that there's been another foul or something. What you've got to remember is the three on the table are talking the game as well. Paul learned this, didn't you, Paul, by sitting next to us. He didn't realise that he gets all his information from listening to us talking on the table. So we might all say number 6 shooting for 2 missed, number 10 with the rebound scores, basket good, 10 for 2, and that is all three of us saying that at the same time, just to clarify with each other that's what we're seeing and that's what we mark down.
But as an announcer, that's great because I hear that's. I mean, sometimes you see the ref come over and that's a personal foul and they hold the number up. But I even wait now to hear those guys say it because then I know that's what's going in the book.
And I guess as well, if you have those situations where you have someone went up for a shot, got the shot, but drew the foul. You've got a shot going in, someone's drawn a foul, someone else is either wanting to call a sub or something. There's multiple things all happening,
Absolutely.
as you say, at that one instance. Maybe someone's gone down injured when they called the foul from the shot, and you go, well, hang on a minute. We've got other people who want to go on the court. Is there an injury? Is there a foul sub?
So in that situation, the team to the left will be asking for a sub there. So it's the person on the left or Paul, because he nudges me to let me know there's someone there, and then the other person's looking at the other bench, so the person in the middle's talking what's going on there. So, but we will know. We say sub blue, sub red, sub both. We know then that there's a sub waiting, but everything has to be administered before the buzzer goes. So the fouls are administered. Depends when they ask for the sub as to when they can go in, so that has to be taken into account, and it all has to be recorded before the subs can go on. So it is quite.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of ordering of different things.
Now, when you have as you mentioned, Ports of Force doing a game there, for example, you have a crowd. You have a different caliber of players. You've got some professional coaches, etc., on the side. So you may not be expected to get too much from, if you're going to get any questions or quizzes, it's going to maybe come from certain directions. What about when you're then going into the youth games? Because some of the stories that Paul's told me about the youth games, it's not so much the coaches can be interesting, but more often than not, it's often the parents and those sort of things. And
I'm telling you now, like this is last season, I saw a parent step onto the court and grab hold of a court official to point to this table to say they haven't put the 2 points on the table yet. And it was like during the motion of going out. It was quite a fast break from what I remember as well. And
Yeah,
it was. What's going on?
He got grabbed. The referee got grabbed around the waist as he was running.
So to get told there's a
that there
score.
was 2 points wrong.
And what? I'm just going to phrase this a certain way, and because I gave up reffing for 2 years, but it was based upon one specific coach being very verbal, and you don't get paid loads as a referee. And in that game, I'll tell you, it was £20 I was getting paid, and I remember thinking, I would actually pay £20 not to be here now. And so that's where you got to be careful. Sometimes as a ref, you think, well, I think you're getting paid, do as good a job as you can. But when you have got aggro from a crowd or someone grabbing hold of you or the ref just busting your balls, it's a little bit like, I'd pay 20 quid not to be here. And that's, I think, where you do lose referees.
Yes.
And is it, in those instances, would you say that sometimes if you chose to be in the table, it can be a less stressful in that because you don't necessarily have that to deal with as opposed to a referee?
Oh, is it less stressful, table officiating?
That's what I was wondering, because I was thinking if there was a game and someone said, right, Sarah, you got the choice now to be the official here or be ref. would you choose one thinking, depending on the game, I'll enjoy the experience more in one scenario than the other? I think this enjoyment has to come from it, because it is, there's a lot of free time and effort that people don't see that's unpaid, that goes into sustaining clubs, sustaining basketball in a community, not just with Portsmouth, but in all other places. The amount of unseen effort that goes in or acknowledged even is huge. There's a lot of goodwill. There's a lot of goodwill that's used. So you have to get something positive out of it for yourself, don't you? And what would you choose?
I think that's a really difficult question.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
That's all he does. That's his job.
I've been around basketball for long enough to know reputations. I know an awful lot of people, so coaches are not new to me. You know, I've known most coaches for eons. We'll go into the historical language. You know, I know these people, so it might be that I would say, yeah, I'm going to table today because I don't want the abuse from that. I know there's going to be abuse, so I don't want that. So I'll table. I have the added bonus of appointing everybody, so that makes it easier for me.
So
so I can pick and choose, if you like.
If it was a game that you didn't know the two teams, but what imagine
if you
if
have
you didn't
those
know
relationships, that's going to help, because you can turn around and go, Dave, chill out, come on.
So
That's why I usually take on the difficult games, because I usually know the people.
So if you don't know the people, it was hey, we're doing something in there, we need an extra person up in London. You don't know the two teams, or as you say, you're tenured. You will know someone at some point,
yeah.
But if you don't have that kind of depth to make a decision, is there really one that you say, I won't say less stressful, but because they both have stress, but different types of stress, don't they?
As a table official, depending on the level of the game, obviously Portsmouth or National League men's and women's games are 10 times more stressful than junior games on the table. Refereeing is probably more stressful. I don't know, just refereeing maybe is more stressful.
Consistently more stressful.
It's physically stressful as a referee as well as mental. But it can be equally as enjoyable. And tabling wise, it's just mental stress. Plus you get stiff sat in the chair. I must admit that if the chair's not comfortable, that could cause a real issue. But
yeah, you can't stand up and walk around a bit.
No,
and
you
stretch your
can't.
legs, can you? No.
I mean, to me, I think I just tend to look at the game and think, who am I? If I'm appointing officials to the game, then I look at the level of the game, the ability of my co-officials, and who would fit the game best, if you see what I mean.
Okay, I'm going to ask something from a
horrible.
psychological standpoint now.
Wow.
Cognitive bias would suggest that the things that you're saying is that you're preloading your expectation of a game because you know certain characters in the game.
I'm not.
How does that affect reffing or officials? Just because we're all
For
human.
me,
Yep.
it doesn't affect it at all. As soon as I step out on the court, it's a new game. It doesn't matter what's happened in the previous game.
So you know certain people might be a little bit more physical than others, or maybe put in blocks.
I know where you're
stuff.
going with this. We did a podcast episode a few weeks back,
Yep.
and we were talking about referees, and I turned around and said, I know some referees who get together at the start of the game.
Yeah.
That's
and
exactly where I'm
say,
going with it. Yeah.
keep an eye on number 5 because he does elbows in the post. And I was like, you can't say that because you're then going looking for that.
I mean, if they used elbows previously, yes, you're aware that they use elbows, but it doesn't affect, for me personally, doesn't affect. But I do know that there are referees that do, that coach by the end of the first quarter, he should have a technical foul because he's going to shout a lot. So we've got to preempt it and get that in early, that sort of thing. To me, it's what happens in the game that I'm doing.
Because, Shaq famously had the hacker Shack where people would open, because he was such, 7'1" plus, huge guy, he's going to get physically hit. And by the legal rule book, he was getting fouled each time. And sometimes the refs in the NBA, that's a whole thing itself, but they let it go. We'll come on to that.
I think big guys generally get fouled a little bit more.
Well, that was my question.
Not getting called. Maybe.
When you see certain even character types, you can't but have a slight bias, can you?
I'll tell you what.
But I'm not a trained ref.
Let's flip this. Sarah, is there a player or players or coaches that you look at and go, or ref that you look at and go, yes, they're here today. This is going to be a great game.
Yes.
Anyone that stands out?
Not you.
Not particularly, I suppose. Not nowadays.
Because it goes both ways, doesn't it?
In days gone by, I could name loads of coaches and players that I would think, today's going to be good.
Yeah.
But you would know, for example, okay, I know these individuals, so it's going to be a quick game, or it's going to be one of those games that there'll be a certain pace to it.
But that's where court officiating should be. It should be, this is going to be a quick game. We've got to make sure we're positioned rather than...
That's the discussions you have about, right, we know these two teams are fast, we're going to... Or they play a defensive game, so it might be a bit slower, or you should have that sort of awareness.
And that's where the line is. Where is it?
You shouldn't be picking it up and saying,
players.
That guy uses his elbows, this guy's going to kick out, that guy's going to shout. You can't do all that because it might not happen in the game. You can guarantee when he plays, he's going to argue, but I don't go into the game thinking, Paul's in this game, here we go.
I still remember playing, we're over in Millbrook, and
Millbrook,
we're over in Millbrook.
Millbrook Bulldogs,
and and
those were feisty games.
Him and his brother. Yeah, well, the best bit was it was a feisty game. We're all getting feisty, but then you and your brother started fighting, and they
seen that more than once.
Yeah, but they were looking at us like, and I went, they do that like their brothers. They do, and they were like genuinely a little confused. Like, well, hang on, we're supposed to be the agitators here, and then they're just fighting themselves. Like, just don't
you
worry
know
about
what?
it.
Especially against someone like the Bulldogs, Andrew and I would do that deliberately to throw a spanner. And we would do that in games. Argue, people were like, what? Why they are? Because it just took focus away.
Definitely spanners, all right. But it was, it's those sort of things that people, when you're playing, say, local league or when you're in juniors, certain things, maybe again, they're all different approaches to a game. And that's the thing that, say, fundamentally, I think I'd love people to realise about being in the table, being the part of the refs, being part of that makes a game legit. Because without an official and a ref, it's actually not a legit game, is it? It's not. It can't be recorded as a legit game. You couldn't just have, the refs and the table officials haven't turned up. They're caught in a snowstorm, so we'll get Barry on the side. And
well, you do ask then if there is a referee or a table official in the crowd that could help.
But if there isn't, and it's like, I'll give it a go. I'll have a crack. It's not. It can't be an official game, can it? No.
Sarah, I'm just going to move on to something else which I think is really positive. I just want to put aside Wi-Fi or connectivity, but Basketball England have introduced the actual score sheet on the actual tablets now,
score sheets,
which I think is a huge advocate for it. I think it's really positive in the sense that you can have your phone be on the other side of the world and I'm getting updates on the game that's happening in the UK. So from that side of thing, I think it's really good. Taking away the sides of Wi-Fi and data and all that, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, from next season, every National League game has to be done on an electronic score sheet.
Oh, okay.
So that's the new rule. Last season, it was a testing year, if you like, to get people used to it. So for most of the season last year, a lot of teams, me included, were doing the electronic scoreboard accompanied by the paper sheet, just in case we made a mistake. But from this season onwards, it's mandatory. You've got to use an electronic score sheet.
And I think there's bits that are handy, like the teams are done by the coaches, and it's just then appears on your.
The teams are done by the coaches before the game, so they should be on the score sheet before the game.
So it just turns up on the score sheet, so they don't need to write it out. It's all there, the numbers.
And by account, then of course, then the coaches there on the bench have direct access to know exactly who's in fouls, who's in what. Even though they can come up and talk.
Coach probably wouldn't look at the app.
Coach doesn't look at the app normally. You wouldn't see that. No,
the spectator
still come and
who's
ask.
not there might do it.
So basically,
No, but I'm saying they wouldn't, but they absolutely could.
They could, but most of them
coach, maybe.
Most of them have a stats person or something. All it shows on the score sheet is fouls and score at the moment.
Yeah.
So you don't have any statistics.
That's the word at the moment.
You'd rely on the stats man for that.
I suppose the different challenge is you would do it anyway, but once you open the score sheet, it's then going, okay, cool, I'm looking at those players. Are they licensed and all that stuff? Because their photos would all be on there as well, wouldn't
it? The score sheet doesn't upload a player unless he's licensed with BE.
Oh, so that's something you don't even need to worry about now.
We still have to check them, but in theory, and I say in theory because it has happened where there was a player that last season that wasn't licensed, but still, and we still haven't solved that one. But the majority of them, the teams will have licensed them, but they still come up and show me the photo. I've got from the tablet on the score sheet, I've got no access to the licenses.
Okay.
So the coach still has to come and show me the license
before
pictures
the game.
Before the game, yeah.
I mean, I genuinely don't know the answer to this, but is there like an offline version once you've got it, so you can get it all up to date at home? Can you then go and if the Wi-Fi is out 4G, you can then just do it and up? Okay, that's good.
So, for example, if we're at Admiral Lord Nelson, the Wi-Fi there isn't great. So what I do is download everything at home, get it ready, take it to Admiral, they upload it, and it doesn't do a live stream until I get back home or until I'm in Wi-Fi.
Okay, yeah.
So the live stream wouldn't be live, if you know what I mean. It would be delayed.
But that's why I said forget the next. But if you've got that live network, as soon as someone scores, in theory, someone on the other side of the world,
it does.
Well,
Mark just scored.
It was something that you both touched on because, as Sarah said, at the moment, it will only show the basic information on that live feed. But as we all know, with everything in life, as soon as you have that mechanism, they're like, oh, we could show this as well. Or we could show that up. Or that could get updated.
Well, like you say that. So, I mean, generally with the data that you're collecting, in theory, why couldn't you have a massive screen and as a player scores, if it's being it must be. Yeah, the player scores, their number goes on, it updates the score. So your big score book of who's playing and all that and their fouls, well, it's all on there. So
well, that's what I'm saying.
You put it on a...
Here we go. This is
a scoreboard on the wall.
It does if you've got a scoreboard that facilitates that.
Oh, it does it already?
Yeah, you can do that.
There you go.
There's several scoreboards that have, so you can put player fouls on them and it shows how many player names.
From the BE app?
No. Well,
that's what I'm saying. Like literally you've got the BE app on a big scoreboard. Because it's all the data's there, isn't it?
Yeah. And
don't see why you couldn't.
But this is what I'm saying. As soon as one thing gets connected in, then another thing comes in and it's, oh, wait, now we've got this information. What else could we do with it? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we could do this. Oh, we can track that.
Definitely that scoreboard.
That taps into the players' things that then goes back to that player's live stats if they wanted to become a professional, go further on, etc. And everything's all live. And
I thought it looked really good. I really liked it. Are you a fan of that technology coming into the game?
It's got to be a step forward, I suppose, hasn't it? It's easy enough to use.
Yeah.
I've had several table officials say, I'm really worried about using it. I said, it's just pushing buttons. It's easy.
Oh, I forgot to charge my iPad.
Well, that is the only thing, isn't it? And if you know, it's where do you store these iPads? I mean, at the moment, for Portsmouth club. I've got the iPads at home. But if, God forbid, something happened to me, what would they do? Do you know what I mean? So I've got to train other people to be able to do it as well. But then where do you keep? You can't really just leave the equipment at a venue and just hope that iPads are precious, aren't they? You know, if
well, exactly. Someone in the family is going to grab hold of that, and they'll be down the garden watching an episode. Like, no, I need that for tonight, please.
Yeah. That's the only sort of questions that I would have. You know, if you've got equipment that is precious, scoreboards are slightly different. You might notice someone walking out of a gym with a scoreboard, mightn't you, that they've got out the cupboard. But an iPad, you could quite easily slip it in a bag and nobody would notice, or a laptop, or do you see what I mean? So to me, that is a question that, yes, it's technology. It may or may not improve the game. Who knows? It improves for other people around, because you get the live scoring, you get the game by game. You know, it says the minute, and it says you get a game by game play. But where do you store all the equipment? That's the only thing that I would be concerned about.
I don't know why this just popped in my head, but I guess the next step, because these electronic score sheets, it's probably a step we could have taken a few years ago, I'd imagine. But I guess the next step would be using AI. So the cameras, someone scores, the camera identifies the number, the player.
Hey, stop taking my job away.
Well, that's what I was going to say, but you'd still need that person that gold standard to make sure everything's okay.
Well,
because the book, isn't it? The book is infallible. It cannot be wrong, and that's the one source that everyone would go back to. Is what's the score on the book say? That's the score.
So when you're talking about maybe using AI, maybe it could be used in different ways. But what I think also, as you're mentioning with the book, it does open up that opportunity for is having a VAR system, as you say, with something like AI. Or
VAR for what?
Well, the reason I'm saying it is
for court officiating.
Court officiating.
Well, they do it in the NBA.
And this is where I'm coming
in
to.
Europe as well.
If you've got suddenly you've got digital, but they've got now that access to all that information, and that opens the way for having a third body who is maybe not physically in that room, but seeing a physical live stream. Do you think that is something that would come into the British game? Because it's in the NBA at the moment, and there were some crazy controversial ones in the playoffs this year. No names, OKC. But would that come into the British game or European game in terms of having?
I think that comes in when there's money, when the investment and the money comes in, when everyone's got 8,000, 10,000 seat arenas.
That's already.
Yeah. But is it?
You're not going to get VAR.
It's only looking at the recording. You're just looking back at what's.
Does it have a place in the game though? That's my question to it. It does, because the reason I say that is because some games are stop and start. And I was listening to, it was Tom Brady, and he was talking with the people in the overlap, and they were talking about the differences between how they use the VAR in the Football World Cup versus how they use it in American football. Now, because American football is very stop-start, as opposed to football, which has a fluidity to it. And then they did mention basketball, sort of breezed over it. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because basketball is a very fast sport, but it has actually lots of stops built into it, doesn't it? So does that lend itself to having this third umpire, so to speak? I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, because having someone else who is...
Sarah's not... I don't know. What do you think, Sarah?
I'm not totally convinced. I mean, yes, they use it in EuroLeague. But it's not, and they use it, like you say, in that other league. But yeah, I'm not sure it's necessary.
You know what? There's a really good video in EuroLeague the other day where the referees go into the screen and he's looking at it, and there's this young man who's got some money and he's kind of holding up, doing that, going, "Go on, come on, call it our way."
And this is where I'm getting to, is that basketball has this, I won't say not unique, but it has this lovely...
Oh, sorry. So you're not saying you're talking... So you're saying potentially someone like Sarah will sit in a room up in the back of the arena watching screens go in, yeah, it was a charge come. But is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think that would.
Because I don't think it works in basketball as a game.
I don't think it would.
Not sure it works in football.
But the reason is, I'm saying the NBA and EuroLeague use it, but I don't see how effective it is, because by the nature of the game, there is contact. There is some move. You know, if they're going to start looking at every single elbow or shirt, it's like they're going to have to call everything, and then that kind of ruins the whole entertainment of what basketball is.
I get what you say. So you're talking about the evolution of the game and stuff like that. So Sarah, like from has much changed then from like when you started learning table officiating to now? Is it the same thing?
The books have changed several times. They've gone one way and then the other and then back again. So we used to have a more more detailed book where you actually had to write the minutes and who scored and missed free throws and things like that. Then they went to a sheet where you didn't have to do that. Then they went back to the old sheet, and then they're back on the running score sheet, as we call it, where you don't mark. So the old sheet, you could tell how many free throws players had missed. On the new sheet, on the recent back. Sheet, you can't. So you used to be able to get a few bits of statistics from the other sheet, but now it's running and you rely on stats.
Yeah, the players don't want to be reminded how little they practice free throws, probably.
So that's evolved. Obviously, when I first started, it was a 30-second shot clock. Now it's only a 24, so that was something new to learn. And obviously, there's been rule changes of many over the years.
Sorry to say this, Sarah. I've just realised something. When Sarah first started doing table officiating or court officiating, would we have been in halves? We'd have been in halves, wouldn't we? 20-minute halves, Mark. I'd forgotten about that. It just popped in my mind when Sarah was saying.
I was blown away when someone was talking about the shot clocks and things with the kids' games and the different rules that applied to what was the game. And I thought, no. And they went, oh, no, they do it that way, which is how they used to do it back then. And it's like there's different layers to those things. I didn't know that.
There's different rules for different kids' leagues.
I don't remember it being like that.
So the junior league, another thing for table officials to monitor in junior leagues is for under 12s and under 14s, under 10s. They all have to play 5 on 5 off. So the clock stops at 5 minutes in each quarter, and then they switch 5s, and it has to be all 5s. If there's only 8 on the team, then there's a certain rotation that they have to follow.
And I find that really frustrating. They'll keep their best 2 players on. If they have 8 players, they'll keep the best 2. And you have to kind of remember, all right, but 4 and 6.
That's down to the table officials as well to monitor that. So that's another thing.
Well, I mean, look, we just touched on coaching. How much do coaches get involved with table officials? Because, I mean, from when I sit with you guys in the National League games, there's lots of querying back and forth. There'll be certain coaches who might say something, it won't be heard, then they'll maybe ask for a timeout, then they'll come up and scream a timeout and stuff like that. So, like, how much of that relationship is...
If they want to say something to the table officials, then they're supposed to approach the table. So if they want to ask for a timeout, they physically have to come up to the table. They can't just holler at us from the bench. They can't come up and start abusing. That would be when you would sort of mention it to the referee, and the referee would go and handle him and say, stay away from the coach. They have coaching boxes, so they can only approach the table if they want something.
And if they ask for are there any official like signs, or like as a ref you call a foul, there's certain things you do? Is there any certain signs you do as a table official? So if someone calls for a timeout, in my mind I'm just like thumbs up, like yeah, cool. Or is it something official, or is that just
yeah, no, there's official signals that replicate. So I would do a timeout signal that the same as the referee would to the referee, you know, timeout, or signaling a 3-point shot. You put your hand up the same as the referee does, so that he can see that you've acknowledged it. The only thing you don't have to do now is check in the time. You used to have to copy the referee with the signal.
Oh, to chop in?
Yeah, you don't have to chop in as a table anymore. But everything else you have to replicate. So sub signals the same, table signals the same.
How far in advance of any changes or adaptions within the table and within the refereeing, for example, how far in advance of a season?
There's a regular conference. So there'll be a conference in September, usually end of August, it's usually the first weekend in September. It used to be a national conference, so we'd all go up to wherever. I've been to Newcastle, I've been to Cardiff, I've been all over the shop for these conferences. That is when they update the rules and regulations, and you have to take a rules test every year. If you're a referee, you take a fitness test to referee Senior National League. At the higher level, you have to take a fitness test. But you do the rules test as a table official as well as the referee, and then you are updated on the rules.
I mean, it's things, it's effort, it's time, it's unlearning things that you think, oh, well, we used to do it this way, now we got to do it that way.
Well, we got some new ref rules coming in. I know we're going to do a show on it coming up. There's quite a few big changes coming up now. I know we wanted to understand it fully, to do with technicals, like your technical 1, technical 2.
The new FIBA rule standards.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's just kind of aligning with the NBA, really, isn't it?
I don't know, because I haven't seen the new. I know what roughly is coming in, but I haven't seen them yet. I haven't looked at them. I must do that, because they are out now. They have been released, but
we were going to put
like
some
I
effort
say,
into it.
there will be a conference in early September at some point.
Yeah, there's a weird thing where
there's
it's
some of the hand signals as well. I'm not sure of.
It's different technical foul levels.
Might be getting the old flags out and start doing the.
I can't remember which call it was, but you know, naturally, when the players are in the backcourt and they're taking their time, you're kind of counting by like chopping. I'm trying to describe what I'm doing. Chopping, like going
like just a karate chop,
like a karate chop going out. You're kind of doing that and counting. There's an actual one of the new. That's one of the new signals for one of the calls. Is that chop? And I don't know. Oh no, I think that might be for flopping. That's flopping now.
And they've got
the karate chop.
The intentional level 1 and 2, and the technical 1 and 2.
We're going to go into it. I know we're going to do a show on it, because it literally affects not just referees, but it affects the players and stuff like that.
And it will affect people who are watching the game and experiencing it as well. So it's like, as a player, you've got to learn what I can and can't do now, what I can and can't get away with, because everyone's trying to find the loophole. That's
not that they ever listen.
Sorry, did you say something?
Not that they ever listen. Yeah, exactly. Not that they ever listen.
Sarah, do you think table officials should also do a basic referee course, just so they have that understanding as well?
Most of it crosses over anyway.
Yeah.
So you do learn what they on the rules test. The rules are, they give you interpretation, so you have to read it and answer what you would do in this situation. And they're very similar to the refs.
Could they combine it?
I think
feels like a natural thing to do, doesn't it?
I think they do. I think they're very similar.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's crossover.
So with the learning, obviously, when you did the training, is it something where you have to, obviously, you continually doing, obviously, learning? But do they do reassessments with refs and with the tables? And does that happen? Because, like driving a car, we all pass our test like a million years ago. Then you don't pass a test again until
you don't have to. I mean, you have to take, like I say, if you're a senior referee or table official, you have to take a rules test every year. Lower down, Paul wouldn't have to take a rules test every year.
I don't need to do it, Mark.
Because he doesn't referee. No disrespect to Paul, but he doesn't referee at a high enough level. I don't have to do the referee. I'm not doing senior national league. But if you are doing senior national league at any level, so for table official for me, then you have to do the rules test every year. So it's
amazing. Okay, see, again, people don't know that sort of stuff.
But that might change. So based on the new rules, that test is going to change, isn't it?
I think that's a good thing, especially if you're going to keep tweaking rules. You're going to keep tweaking stuff like that. I know we've talked in the past with lots of sports, and one I always think of with basketball, weird synergies, is always Formula One for some reason. And that's a perfect example of something where every single year there's just these tiny little tweaks, but people use it to how do we manipulate it
in basketball.
Okay.
So you get there might be a little tweak in the year in between, but the major rule changes are usually every 2 years.
Okay.
And that's down to FIBA. So it's not Basketball England making the rule changes, it's actually the national.
And this year feels like
body.
a lot. There's a lot. Feels like a lot of changes.
It's a major rule change year this year, yeah.
Oh, good old Swiss and Geneva pulling out the punches.
Wow.
So if you, Sarah, had to make one change as a table official and one change as a ref that you could suggest to them for implementing, what do you think it would be that would either improve the quality of the game but also the experience? Are there things that you think we still haven't got a grasp on that yet, for example, or we still don't quite do that the right way? And obviously, as you said, there's lots of rules coming in. You've got the changes with the electronic pad, etc. But are there things you think we still could do better here?
You really do ask tricky questions.
I know.
No preparation,
I know.
No. Well,
no time to think.
I'm not mine, all right. It's him.
So as an example,
questions.
So for example, you have seasoned experience. So if someone says we're going to do a change, you have a knowledge bank, for example, to go back on. But for someone who's maybe learned in the last 2 or 3 years, maybe there's some rules or some things that you think that could help people either stay in reffing or table officiating or advance them on.
I've got one. I've got a referee change I'd like to bring out.
Okay.
And I'm going to call this a referee technical foul.
Oh.
A referee technical foul. And it doesn't actually go on the scorebook, so it doesn't actually mean anything, but you just highlight it. So you're letting the player know you disagree with that. So if a player's going to go and fast break and they do a layup when they could have dunked it, you go, referee technical foul. Just let them know. You should have dunked that.
I actually thought you'd have something.
I thought that was going to be something serious.
I thought there was something of value there. Like
what? It's a referee technical foul. It's like you should have dunked it.
Well, for example.
What are the other technical fouls then? Are they not referee technical fouls? You just add into the list or what?
Because you have the intentional and the flagrants, don't you, now? The two versions of those. But
we don't have flagrants in this country.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what I saw on those new.
Unsportsmanlike.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know what the new ones are. They're calling it something, aren't they?
One's intentional and then one is something else, isn't it?
I'm not sure. Some of them, I think, are pretty good. So things like chucking someone out for touching the ball after it's gone in and passing it off. It's like when you get 2 of those, you're out. It's like, well, it's a bit harsh. Especially once you've given a warning. If they do it and it's just kind of a reaction rather than they've done it deliberately, it's like, oh, I now have to tee you up. I don't know. Things like that. I think that would be a T2 now. I'm not sure. Or no, that's a T1, I think.
But
so it's just a foul rather than.
I think all of these things still go back to that fact that regardless of even you're getting a tenner or something or whatever it is for doing the table or doing the refereeing or whatever it may be, the amount of time and effort that you have to put in to making sure that other people get to enjoy doing either their hobby at one level or doing something at a semi-professional or professional level, the amount of effort that gets into having to maintain your reffing knowledge and status, the same as your knowledge for the table and that. None of that ever gets acknowledged. None of that gets.
I think we're kind of all in agreement. There's a bit of a lack of recognition for.
Well, it's just
I'd probably say officiating.
Well, put it this way: the travel.
Probably,
let's just say the travel.
Maybe table officials more than the refs. Lack of recognition.
Yeah, I suppose so.
As an observer, my daughter would look and say, that's the person who's keeping the score, or they're putting down the naughty sheet. They won't consider it with the ref, for example, as working together, saying we're all part of officiating. It's like its own thing, and they don't realise the viewpoint that they have to and what they give back to the ref. People don't see that connection as a viewer.
I think the players struggle with that as well sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Sarah, what is your most memorable game as a court official? Do you have one?
Quite a few, really. Quite a few. You refer to the NBA quite often.
Yeah.
I'm very proud to say that I've tabled games with Chris Finch and Nick Nurse in them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. When they were over here. Yeah. I've done international games. So that was nice. I actually tabled for the Harlem Globetrotters as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, once. So I've done quite a bit.
Do you even write down fouls for the Harlem Globetrotters?
No. No.
What are they called? The Washington
Wizards. No,
who they go up against? The Washington Comrades or something like that.
They've changed that name. They've changed the team name several times.
They go up against someone, don't they?
I saw them about 6 years ago.
Washington Cardinals, something like that.
Yeah, something like that, isn't it?
Oh, wow. So,
Very special form of table officiating, shall we say.
Yeah. Well, look.
Have you officiated any of your family?
Have I officiated? I've chucked my husband out the game several times. So, yes.
That's actually one of Sarah's most memorable moments.
I know. It's brilliant. I mean, that's a car ride home, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Get a camera ready. I'm just going to chuck him out.
What happens on the court stays on the court.
I mean, I would actually just walk home myself. Like, I'm not getting in the car then.
When he's playing, he's not my husband. Do you see that? And my daughter's the same. When they're playing, they're not any relation to me. They're just players on the basketball court.
Have you ever like blown the whistle and they're like, "Mum, that was not a foul"? You're like, "T."
No, but I've done it with my husband.
Do not be disrespectful to me. Technical foul.
I actually said to him one day, "Do you want a technical foul or what?" He said, "Yeah, go on then." So I did. That happened to be his fifth foul in the game. I said, "Right now, get out. Off you go."
What did you? I mean, we'll talk about Ali, but briefly, we had him on the podcast. Go listen to the episode. I really enjoyed his episode because he talked about stepping away from the game, and for a long time, and then he came back to it, and he's like, I found the game again. He fell back in love with it. I think that's where we ended it. I did a little cliffhanger, but I remember mentioning it, and you were standing next to me at the time, and you went, "I didn't step away. I carried on doing basketball in the household."
I did, yeah.
What was that like? Because you was still part of it, still doing it, and he'd stepped away, and obviously
he stepped away, and the reason he stepped away, you've got to put that in context, is he stayed at home with our girls at the weekends.
Of course.
So he had daddy time with the girls. Mummy went and had me time doing basketball. That was what happened. I'd go to conferences, tournaments, and it gave me a break. My neighbour always says he only fed them cheese on toast for their dinner or macaroni cheese. Those were the two things he could only feed them. But, you know, they had daddy time. I had me time. And that worked really well. Yeah. And now when Jessie started playing, we both got back into it quite a lot. And, well, I didn't get back into it. I was still in it. But Andy then got his love back, and then it's just built on from there, I think.
Something you touched on there, which is what the actual sport does for us. Definitely, I mean, I've mentioned it to you, Mark. I've mentioned it to people. When you play, specifically, like my brain just turns off. So it's almost like that's chill out time playing, even though it's whatever in the game's going. But yeah, you're thinking about the play, you're thinking about shooting, passing, whatever it is, but you're not thinking, if that makes sense.
No, you're present. That's why
something
you're
about the
100% present.
Similar with refereeing. You finish and think, that was quite relaxing. Like,
yeah, because you have to be present, don't you? You have to be. I can't think about, oh no, I've got to do this when I get back. Like I am watching at the moment for this next hour and a bit. I've got to be focused on this one thing I'm doing, and it gives you, because you're so focused and present, it actually just becomes that stress relief, doesn't it? But yeah, 100%. We're going to stitch you up with another question.
Or 2 questions. Mark's favorite 2 questions.
Yeah.
Go on then, hit me.
Every guest has answered these questions.
So I'm interested for this one because of how your husband answered it. If you had to inbound the ball to someone, and it's the game-winning shot, it's that crunch time shot.
Yeah.
It could be any player, any person, any player to take that magic shot. Who would it be?
To win the game.
To win the game.
Paul Stimpson.
Paul Simpson, Mark.
Paul Simpson. I don't know who that is.
No.
But Paul Simpson.
Yeah. He played for Solent Stars and Crystal Palace. And
what? How do you not know who that is?
Because I'm older than my brain lets me be sometimes.
Yeah, he's just a player I've always admired. Or Paul Philp. There you go. There's another one. Paul Philp. I'd pass it to him.
Now, when I asked Andy that question, he said, I'm taking the shot. But really? And I said, I phrased it as a life or death shot. And he took it quite literally. He said, well, no one else is going to be in charge of my life but me. So I'm taking that shot.
Fair enough.
Which I liked.
That sounds like an Andy answer.
Yeah.
That does, yeah.
So, the second part of this, we call it our 5 and Pine, where you have to pick your 5 favourite all-time players and there's one who's sitting on the bench.
To save the world.
It's like your Space Jam
anyone
all-time team. It can be any person.
Even Andy.
Sorry, Andy, you ain't making it.
That's really hard, isn't it? I've always liked Alton Bird, so he'd probably feature. Plus, he picked me up off the floor and put me in an ambulance, so that would help. Yeah,
that's a reason.
Hang on, you can't just say that and leave it there.
Why?
What happened there?
We were in a 3v3 tournament, and I got hurt. I hurt my back and couldn't move, and he literally sorted it all out.
Legend on the court and off the court, Mark.
That's congratulations, Alton Bird. Saviour.
Yeah,
that has
he
made
won't
your
remember
place.
That at all, but that was history for me. Who else?
He will remember. He's in your 5 and Pine.
Well, Paul Stimpson, obviously, he's my favourite player. Not that his wife would be very happy for me saying that. Paul Philp. I suppose I'd best go for some NBA people, hadn't I?
You don't have to. Some people don't.
No.
I think a lot of the UK guys we've had on have stuck with BBL players.
Mr. Chairman, Rob Milner, he picked some of his friends, didn't he? That he wanted to play with, which was really, I love that. He's like, if it's going to be one team, I'll put myself on the bench, and these are my favourite 5, which is a nice touch.
Yeah, tricky, isn't it?
It's hard.
I suppose Alan Cunningham has always been a
I was waiting for that one.
decent
I was waiting
player.
for that one.
Yeah, he did all right, didn't he?
He was all right, yeah.
Legend
Nice enough.
on the South Coast, Solent, Portsmouth and Worthing.
On the South Coast.
Legend everywhere, but...
Everywhere.
Yeah.
GB.
First UK player inducted into the UK Hall of Fame, wasn't he? I believe.
I had a chat with him a few weeks back. He has said he will come on the show, Mark.
Alan, we look forward to speaking with you.
Amazing.
That will be amazing.
I like Colin Irish as well. I know you've had him on.
Yeah.
He's always been a player I've admired. So
Colin was very gracious with his time.
I think his
Must have been something o'clock in the morning for him, was it?
No, it was the other way. So we did it on a Sunday.
No.
We did it on a Sunday, and we started at like 2 o'clock
yeah, no.
in
So
our afternoon.
it was AM for him.
Yeah, but it was like 10 a.m. for him when we started, and about 3 o'clock for us. And then
yeah, we would of the show is recorded. I think Mark split Colin Irish into like 2 or 3 segments, but each one was like an hour and a half. So I think his episode was like 4 hours long or something like that.
That's how long we were talking to him in total. It was about 2.5 hour, 3 hour episode.
No. But it was like 5.5 hours we were talking to him for.
I remember
because I had to keep stopping and saying, guys, this is the show.
Oh yeah, because we were just fanboying the whole time and just talking about random stuff. Sorry, Sophie Clark is eating cables and doing things. So bear with me 2 seconds. Continue talking.
So if that's your 5, so who's on the bench?
It's got to be Andy, hasn't it?
Wow, Andy Rowlands has got into an all-time twice.
Look at that.
A UK player twice.
He has been redeemed.
He'll love that.
Won't be on the sofa tonight, Sarah. That's good.
He might be, though.
Right, brilliant.
There's still plenty of time in the day to mess it up, Andy. Don't worry.
Well, I told you, Mark, this would be an interesting one.
Definitely.
First time worldwide this has been talked about, possibly on a podcast.
Do you know what, Sarah? Can you just speak to the people who are either thinking about becoming an official or a ref? And like genuinely, what would you say to them about, if they're thinking about doing that, wherever they are in the world, wherever they're, in the UK or whatever it may be, what would you say
I'd say do it. It's very rewarding, especially if you want to get in for it. Like me, I'm in it for the kids, basically.
And do you need to be affiliated to a club, or can you just go and? No,
you can just do it.
Does it help to actually not be affiliated sometimes?
Because it doesn't really matter. When I'm officiating, I'm not actually affiliated to the club. I don't consider myself to be affiliated. I'm working for Basketball England when I'm officiating.
I think that's something people think, oh, you're that and you work for that club, but actually you're part of BE.
Yeah, once I put my whatever colour shirt I've got on, grey, yellow as I've got in my bag at the moment.
Yellow.
Yeah.
You know what I will say? I think the scorers, the table officiating uniform is probably the best looking thing in the BE Arsenal, I reckon. It's like a red top, Basketball England. Like I got one. I'm not even table fishing. I got one and wear it sometimes when I'm coaching because I think.
Why did you get one?
Because I think it looks good when you're coaching. It's brilliant. It's one of the best looking thing. That red top, doesn't it?
It's not bad.
It's really good.
I'm not a fan of the highlighter yellow. That's the ref's one, isn't it?
What, the one that I've got in my bag at the moment?
I'm not a giant fan of that. It's
Mark, I bought it 2 years ago. Never worn it yet. Never worn it once.
I mean, I think refs should just wear the black and white stripes. Just go really old, really go old school.
That's why.
Mickey Byrne always had one of those, black and white striped. If he was refereeing, he'd get that out.
I'll tell you what. Look,
you knew that was going to be an eventful game.
Sarah, we before we finish. I know we're almost there. Before we finish, we got to bring him up. His name's come up a few times. Like Mickey Byrne, he's an absolute, legend, inspiration to so many people in the UK, definitely on the South Coast, around everywhere. What are some of your nice memories of Mick?
Just what a generous, kind man he was. On the basketball court, he was awful. He was horrible on the basketball court. Horrible. I'd like to use other words, but I'm too polite.
Spirited.
Yeah, probably more than that, yeah. Off the basketball court, I've never met a more generous person, kind-hearted, helpful, just absolutely wonderful. He was my girl's adopted granddad. He treated them like his own grandkids. He was just an absolutely lovely man, and the amount of money that man poured into kids basketball is phenomenal. You wouldn't know. I mean, if a kid came up to training with a hole in his shoe, he'd quite often go out and buy them a new pair of boots. You know, he was just that kind, generous. His views rubbed off on me. It's all about participation and getting, no matter whether they can afford it or not, getting kids involved in the game, whether it be playing, officiating, you name it. He would put his hand in his pocket and make that happen. And most of the Portsmouth, not the PFC team, but Portsmouth Pirates and that, Solent money came out of his pocket on a regular basis to help.
And smugglers.
Smugglers, yeah. So he was just a wonderful man.
An inspiration. And again, there's certain people like Mick, who we always say, without Mick, you know, you wouldn't have anything like we have got down on the south coast. It just wouldn't be as bright. I don't think you would have the Portsmouth Force without Mick. Now.
And I think it's
because that started from City of Portsmouth basketball when you were playing at Wimbledon. We spoke about Wimbledon Park and Mountbatten Centre. That's where this club has developed from. It's been through many different phases and many different people in charge of it, and then Rob's finally taken it over, and that's developed into Portsmouth Force. But it's been in the Portsmouth since the 80s.
Just for those people listening in different parts of the country, I've spoken with people who've all said basically we've had a Mick as well.
Yes,
and there are characters like that who have been generous with their time and funding, and basically kept that love and spirit within a community and built something around it.
There's a guy I've got to mention from the Crystal Palace Club, John Cutts. He's passed away this last week, so that's another loss to the basketball world. Great man, just the same as Mickey. Been around basketball for years and years and years and years and years. And the tributes that have been paid to him from Basketball England and from the basketball community in the London area, it's the same as Mickey was down here. He was a lovely person as well. So, yeah.
And that's why we want to capture some of these stories and chat with people, because, again, people don't see the unspoken word or everything else that goes behind the scenes to.
I think they call them unsung heroes, don't they?
It's absolutely. And it is very much something that is a passion, and you don't always appreciate the depths of that passion until you start hearing all these stories like, oh, someone helped me buy some shoes. Someone drove me to the games for 3 years.
Oh, Mickey drove everybody everywhere.
All those stories, and it's just, they drove people mad as well.
Yeah, he did. Especially me.
But it's those spirited moments that also made it as more memorable in a way, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
And you need, and certainly in this country, it relies on those characters, doesn't it, up and down the country to make to keep the game sustained, which is always the frustrations that people have had seeing the top tier teams, and they've had to now make foundations and put things in place to try and keep that funnel, keep it encouraging. But for teams in areas like ourselves, where we don't have the top tier team yet, everything has to be built from scratch, and grassroots basketball is the most important thing.
Yep.
And
there we go.
Absolutely. Sarah, thank you so much for your time.
No worries.
It's been absolutely brilliant. And so ends another edition of Talking Basketball Podcasts. And it's lovely to get back interviewing and speaking with our guests such as Sarah. So thank you for your time. I've been Mark.
I have been Paul, and Sarah, thank you very much for coming on the show today. The scorers table may not always get the attention, but the people working there play that vital role in every basketball game. From keeping an accurate scorebook to operating the clock and scoreboard, their concentration, communication, teamwork make sure the game runs properly. And without them, we wouldn't be playing. Good night.